Well, first, we're here tonight because we have our Becoming Safe Belonging retreat coming up. And time flies. It's the end of May. May 29th through the 31st is when the retreat is. And we're just now in February. But if you guys are like me, I think I have so much time. And the next thing you know, whoosh, it's here. So that will be here before we know it. And it's going to be beautiful and warm. Today was actually warm here in Virginia. You guys are in Pennsylvania, right? Yeah. So wherever anyone else listening to this before or after we record this, it's going to be nice. It should be nice, I should say, in Virginia. It should be beautiful at that time of year. Of course, it could always rain, but that's part of life and we'll deal with it. But the house is on Smith Mountain Lake, which is in Huddleston, Virginia. Gwen over here has been there. It's a beautiful house, very comfortable, and has terraces where we can look right out over the lake. You can go down on the water. They've got kayaks. What are the thingies, the flat thingies you go out on? Paddle boards. I didn't go out on the paddle boards, but several people did and had a blast. So there's a lot of fun you can do outside, and it's so good to be outside. And I don't know about y'all, but water, like sitting by water, really calms me. I just love that feeling. I love one of my favorite mornings there. I got up really early and I was on one of the terraces and I watched the sunrise coming up over the lake. There's some pictures on the slideshow, and I just remember feeling in total awe. And so grateful to be there with so many amazing women. It was really, really, really powerful. So that's the when, May 29th through 31st. This is 2026 we're talking about. I will throw this out for those listening that have wanted to come, but those dates don't work. We are working on a possible smaller retreat. There's two ladies in particular that have already reached out to me that really wanted to come, and those dates don't work for them. And so we opened up this conversation about doing something in August, about mid-August, here in Virginia at my house. And I can host about 4 to 5 women at one time. And so that is a possibility. I just want to throw that out there. The primary reason for this meeting tonight is the belonging in May. But that is a fallback, those fallback dates. Again, there would only be room for 4 to 5 women, but let me know. So I also wanted this out there because some people might not tune into this because they say, well, I can't come in May. And then we have a fall retreat, which I'm not calling a retreat because the name of it is the Expansion Experience. And it's a follow-up to anybody that has been to a belonging or is at a place in their life, if they've done the doing, also part of becoming safe, or have done the doing, which sounds so funny to me, and has come to a place in your life where you feel stable enough to push the limits a little bit. Whereas the becoming safe belonging, we're really focusing on regulation of the body, tuning into our emotions and our stories, and finding that inner safety so that we can show up in the world and in our circumstances feeling regulated and safe inside of us, because we all know we cannot control the world around us. And many of us have spent a lifetime trying to do that and putting that best foot forward, and then, quote, failing over and over until I realized, like, not my job. My job is here. And now many of us are moms. So we have that added responsibility of showing up for these little people who are relying on us and they don't have that capacity to hold that space for themselves. That is an appropriate way for that energy to come out. But it starts here too, right? I mean, we can't be good moms, those of us that are moms, when we're not showing up for ourselves. We can try. The truth is that it falls short and we exhaust ourselves. So that's the belonging is really about becoming safe inside of us and learning how to anchor that into our beings, into our bodies, into our emotional experiences, and integrating our stories so that we're not hijacked by them over and over. Anybody else had those times in life when you're like, why is this happening to me again? Like, I've done this thing before and here I go again. And you're like, No, I thought I dealt with this. I thought I ended that situation, that relationship, whatever it might be, and then here it shows up again. What I have found for myself is those stories are actually showing up for us so that we can undo whatever that inner belief is about ourselves that wants to be undone. And it's not fun, it's not comfortable to lap around that mountain again. But when we can see it with fresh eyes and start to recognize what's showing up for us, that's when I think we can actually make a change and learn from what's happening to us. And then we get to rewrite the story and say, no, I'm not taking another lap. I don't know if any of you have had those, like I call them line in the sand moments, when I finally like saw something, a pattern, and went, I'm not doing this again. Like, oh my gosh, I saw it. And it was like that line in the sand, like I stepped over it. I'm not taking another lap. And those have been the most transformational times in my life. And I know Gwen shared she's taken some steps across some lines. And it's exciting, it's empowering, and it can also trigger us back into some of our patterns because we get a little uncomfortable with change and fear and what the unknowns. And so having support, having tools, even when we like have those great aha moments and we step over that line and we're like, yeah, I'm going to change my life. And then we have the panic moments. One of the things I truly believe in myself and I share with others is when we're not regulated in our nervous system, when we're not in that, have that ability to be in that calm alert, we're either in our 8 to 10 stress response or our 0 to 3 trauma shutdown. In those two places, we run patterns. And so we can have a little compassion for ourselves, like, oh, that's why I did it. That's why I did the thing again, because I wasn't regulated. But when we're regulated, we have choice. And that's exciting. So that is some of the stuff that we're going to get into and do together at the Belonging. That's the when, the where. Again, that's Huddleston, Virginia, Smith Mountain Lake. The why, because all that we just said. And Becoming Safe itself is that online course and community, which is available to any woman. Anyone can access it. And the Belonging came from this after about a year and a half of doing Becoming Safe online, where we were like, let's all get together and experience life, like for a weekend. Let's spend some time together. And that name Belonging is multiple. One, like belonging, connecting, feeling loved by other people who get you is huge. And then that word longing to me is powerful, that we are all like longing inside for this better life or that sustainable nervous system, whatever it is. Like I'm longing to feel a certain way. And the be is about our being. We can be our longing. You know, we don't have to just long for it and wish for it and hope that it comes and then keep doing that around the mountain circle. We can be our longing and we can belong in a group. So that's where that name came from, in case you want to know trivia. Okay, so with those of you that are here, you lovely ladies, are there specific questions that you have? You can either unmute and ask, or you can type it into the chat. Do I have the chat open? There it is. If there's a specific question you guys have, or questions, we'll go through those. And then I have a list of like frequently asked questions that I figured I could just rattle off. Do you guys have any, you ladies? Nothing specific. Okay. All right. And then maybe the questions will elicit questions. If they do, then pop your hand up. Okay. So travel, that's a question a lot of people have. You can drive if you're in driving distance. You can drive and there's a place to park your car. No problem. If you're flying in, Roanoke Airport is the closest. Lynchburg Airport is also almost the same. Last year we just did Roanoke because that's what everybody picked. And I realized after I had put those two options, I thought, oh, if we had had a mixture, we would have really been running laps trying to get people. So I'm going to this year say Roanoke is going to be primary choice because I think it's offering the better connections anyway. Yeah, that's where Gwen flew in and out of as well. So those of you that are wanting to fly, that's where you want to check into. You want to try to get in as early as you can on that Friday, the 29th. You'll be able to arrive. Those of you that are driving, you can arrive anytime on Friday. That's going to be kind of like free time to just enjoy the place. Those that are there early will have a complimentary light lunch, like soup and some bread, something like that, that'll be ready. So anybody that if you come in and you want to just have a little something to eat, enjoy the lake, get comfortable. Official start time on Friday is 3. We have a fun icebreaker, appetizers, and then our first like group connection. And then we'll have a quick break and we'll have dinner all together that night. And then that night, Friday night, will be our first main group session. And then some free time in the house. The house is super fun. It's got a pool table, ping pong out in the garage, and then downstairs there's like, what do you call foosball and some games. And so those that want to be playing games can do that. There's some stuff out on the deck. I don't even think we got out the cornhole last time. There's cornhole. There's a hot tub. I was in the hot tub. That was so nice. So that can be some evening times, and then rest. Like rest is so important. And then Saturday, we'll have some quiet time in the morning, breakfast on your own. We'll have a group session together. And then there's going to be a good chunk of the day, Saturday, of free time. Usually about like 12 to 5 if I stick to the same schedule we had last year. And there'll be some of that will be from our morning session. There'll be some activities that you can do on your own, and you can do it during that free time. That's kind of our connection day with this little person inside of us. Whereas our first day is really talking about the nervous system and regulation. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean to be regulated? What is my nervous system even designed to do, and why? How do I listen to it? How do I not get hijacked by it? And then connection is our main focus. And then when we come back together Saturday, we'll all have dinner. And then Saturday night is our interactive concert. So I'll have music set up. We'll play music. We'll hear stories from what people have experienced that day from their sessions. And I like fly by the seat of my pants is one of my fun things to do. So when people share something and I'm like, ooh, I know what song. I have a song that'll go with that. Have you guys ever seen, oh gosh, what was it called? Living Color, I think is what it was. It was like that old, almost like Saturday Night Live kind of show. And I never saw this, but my good friend Carrie, who was at the retreat last year, she turned me on to this. There was this character, this guy that would play his guitar on the street anywhere. And people would talk and he'd say, I wrote a song about it. You want to hear it? Here it go. And so I'd laugh every time. I think that's kind of how our concert is that night. I feel like as people share, I get this, I'm like, oh, I wrote a song about that. I'm like, you want to hear it? So here it go. So then I'll play a song, and then that usually elicits something from someone else. They're like, I want to share. And we had a beautiful time last year allowing that to flow, allowing people to share what came up from the morning session, from their exercise on their own, and then from their free time. And then we'll have a nice, fun, jammies night that night. And then that's Saturday. Sunday, we have an optional full journey breathwork session. So we'll do some breathwork techniques, but if anybody wants to try full breathwork, let's see, 2 of you, have you both, Amber and Gwen, done a full one online with me? You both have? Yeah, okay. So that'll be an option to do that in person for those that want to. If you don't, that'll be a time to just be able to have some journaling time. Some people last year really wanted to take that time to journal and integrate some of the things that had been coming up for them for the weekend. Either is fine. And then we have a big brunch together, and that is our final. We officially end at 1 on Sunday. So those of you guys driving in, super easy. You're just load up. You can even spend some of the day there on Sunday, and then gather your stuff and head home. Those that are flying, so again, back to travel, those that are flying in, if you can try to arrive early on Friday and book your departure for as late on Sunday as possible. That gives us room to get you to the airport. So we'll talk about that as people book. Any questions on that? All good? Okay. Feel free to unmute or type in. I'll keep checking over to the chat if you type something in over there. Or raise your hand and unmute and we'll hop you on here. Finances. The way the finances work, all you need to do to register is put in your $150 deposit. That holds your spot. And then I will email with each one of you and work out. Some people like to make payments as we go along until May 1st is when we want the final payment to come in. Some people like to make payments all along. Some people want to do 2 payments or have that final payment just due on May 1st. That's totally fine. If anybody is in a financial situation where that you want to be here, everything about you wants to come, and finances are the only thing holding you back, let me know. We might have some scholarship money. Last year we did have someone donate, and so we had one scholarship. And the other thing that I often will do if someone comes to me is we'll brainstorm ideas. Like if you have a local church that you're involved in or community organization, that you can go to them and tell them what you're wanting to do and see if you can get some money from them if they have a fund for that. So be open. If that's the piece holding you back, don't sit back and be like, I wanted to go, but I couldn't afford it. What's the worst we can do is we don't come up with it. We don't have it. And then we just roll with that and we figure it out. But if you reach out and say, I don't, like, let's be creative, let's see what we can do. And then let's trust that it's going to come in. Right? I mean, I've seen miracles in my life before when I've been in situations when I had nothing. One time even, I sent $20 to myself a year before I needed it. I was speaking at a women's retreat, and I felt very led to put $20 in this. We were all writing letters to ourselves, the attendees were, and I was the speaker, and I thought, well, I'll do it too. I wrote the letter, and then I had this urge to put $20 in the envelope, and I was like, okay. And I was married at the time, didn't know that a year from then I would be divorced with no money. And I put this $20 in and put it in the envelope and totally forgot about it. Exactly a year later, this letter comes in the mail and I'm like, what is this? This handwriting looks familiar. I open it up, $20 falls out, and I'm not kidding you. I needed $70 to make it through that week. And in that same batch of mail, my mom had sent me $50. And then that $20 bill fell out of that envelope. Is that wild? So I just say provision is there. If your heart is pulling you to be here, we're going to trust and be creative and get you there. So that's the finances. Any questions about finances? The initial payment is on the link that's gone out, and that you pay when you register. That way you can pick your room. And then the other payments we usually do Venmo or PayPal. And that way everybody can decide when they want to pay and how much, and that just comes directly. That's easy. Guests, you can bring friends. We do want them to be a member of Becoming Safe, but Becoming Safe itself is a pay what you can course and community, so there's no financial burden for that. And the reason for that is we want to be a community, and if they have time, Gwen kind of came towards the last minute. I'm not sure she had even had a chance to look at anything online before she came. And it worked out great for her. But if you can be part of it, and that way, I mean, right now you're getting to at least see my face, which helps to feel a little bit more comfortable. You're going into a situation where you might not know anybody. It can feel nice to have heard my voice, seen my face, and at least be like, okay, I know that lady, and feel comfortable. And even some of the lingo and things that we talk about, some of the tools that I use that are in Becoming Safe. And some people that are coming may be doing the doing. And so you'll be really familiar with a lot of the language and metaphor and stuff that I use. So on that note, feel free. You can invite friends, send them the link, especially if someone's strong on your heart. Even if it's someone you haven't talked to in a while, but you're like, I cannot shake it. This person just keeps coming to me. Trust that intuition. Oftentimes when I've had those feelings, I'll reach out. I'll think, I don't want to reach out to that person. I do. And they're like, you don't know how much that meant to me. And this is just what I needed, whatever it might have been. So I encourage you to trust those gut feelings and invite people if they come to your mind. Food, we make all of our food. And so there is a intake questionnaire that'll come if anybody has any special needs for food. If you're gluten intolerant or you're not eating dairy or whatever it might be, we'll accommodate that. And I'm a nutritionist, so I like healthy food, but I also really like enjoying food. So it's a really nice blend of like decadence and health. And one of the things I also love about that is that we can learn that taking care of ourselves Doesn't have to be bland and boring and like things that were like, ooh, I have to eat that. Like, oh, I can indulge at times and I can learn how to take care of myself and see things that are actually healthy that taste good, you know? So it'll be a little bit different this year because we have a different person helping me with the food. But that's always fun and unique to see. We come up with a new menu each year, so that will be fun. Pause again. Any questions coming up? Y'all are just so easy going. Got it all together. The weather, I already mentioned that it should be nice. Last year was middle to end of April. It was end of April, and it was warm. Like we were able to be outside, and this will be a month later. So I mean, we could be bathing suits and getting a tan. It's up to who, whatever. If you like the sun, there's also down at the water. There's a pretty big covering, so you can be under the covering or back at the house. There's covered terraces, so you can see the water. If you're like, I don't even have any interest in going on the lake, but you just want to sit and look at it, you'll feel like the house is kind of up, so it feels like you're right on the lake when you're sitting in the back of the house. And then I already kind of went over the schedule. So that's the basics. That's the basics of the belonging. Anything else y'all can think about? Or if you can think of any questions that you think someone else might have, something that I might be forgetting. Can't think of it. And there'll be emails, of course, coming out letting you know what to bring, um, and what you don't need. And we'll have like we'll be watching the weather too, which nowadays we can all check our phones and see what the weather is so you know what to pack and what to bring. Um, yeah. So then the only other thing would be those other two events that if the belonging sounds like if you're on here and you're like, oh my gosh, this sounds great. I wish I could go. And the dates don't work for you, that middle of August, it will not be at the lake house, but it will be here in my house. And that will be a smaller group. The one piece that we will be able to do at that event is to incorporate horses a little bit because I know those of you are like, wait a minute, I want to go to that one. My horses are only 15 minutes from my house, whereas at the lake, they're about an hour and 15 minutes away. So that is something, and I love connecting horses with our well-being and our nervous system. They are so amazing. And that's something, one of my dreams, one of my longings is in my perfect world is that I will live and at the farm where I host retreats so that you're always coming to my house and our horses are out the door and we can do all the things. And we have a pond or a stream or something. So we've got water. That's my dream. And one of my mottos that I live by, though, is do what you can with what you have where you are. And so I'm loving, met this beautiful lady that owns the house on Smith Mountain Lake, and this is the second year we'll use her home. And then the expansion experience, which is September 25th through the 27th, will be in Tennessee. And that is at a home that I got to go to a retreat, a songwriter's retreat, with my good friend Krista Wells, who is a phenomenal songwriter, and it's her family's home, and they host retreats there. And they just opened it up to other groups to be able to use it. So since I was there for the songwriters retreat, I got to see it and I 100% picture it. It's going to be perfect for the expansion experience because that is going to be a bit of an adventure. Again, that event is for those that really feel ready to push their edges and their limits, and they feel like they're secure enough in their nervous system that can challenge some of those limitations in your life, that you can look at maybe some of your spiritual things that you've made assumptions about in the past, any of those kinds of storylines. So making sure that event will be, I'll make sure that I know who's coming or that I have like an intake interview because I don't want anyone to come to that one and feel overwhelmed, like they were pushed beyond where they're ready to be. So, okay. That is really it. Do you guys have anything else you want to share or say? I'm so excited that you're all going to be there.
I'm just super excited too.
Yay. Yay. I think we covered anything you guys can think of. If you were a person thinking of coming, is there any other question you can imagine would be on your mind?
I don't have any questions, but
Yeah,
I just want to say to anyone thinking about it that it is definitely a good choice. And even if you're scared of being in a group of random women, it is so comfortable and so welcoming. And you can just pour your heart out and be so welcomed and loved. And it's a whole new level of respect for yourself. And you deserve a retreat with all of the love.
I love that. Thank you, Gwen. That was beautiful, beautiful. Awesome. And hopefully, we've answered everybody else's questions. And for those of you watching, if you have any other questions, email me, sfitzgeraldcn@gmail.com, and just let me know, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you, ladies. Great to see your beautiful faces. Love you too. Oh, yes. Oops, that's one of my fun things. Let's see if I can make my hearts go. Yay! And then I like this one too. Woohoo! I gotta find, there's gotta be other things, but right now those are the only two things I know how to do on here. So, all right, you guys have a beautiful night, and we'll see you soon. Bye.